What's going on, everybody? Leopazzo Tv here. Thanks very much for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be covering some filtration system, but on a very basic level.
Rap to the streets now. Trying to do my thing while I get beat now. Never mind you getting so loosely. Trying to do my thing cause you know I get Bruce Lee. Act right, chop, drinking all this water. Never mind the bullshit and get data. I'm just rolling down phone with the heat now. Trying to do my thing, man. You know I'm on the street out.
We're just going to kind of get the understanding on what happens in a sump filtration and what type of equipment we will need just to have water filtering or water cycling through our fish tank and our sump filtration. So let's go ahead and check it out. Where do you guys want to start? Up top or down low? Alright, I'll make the decision for you. Let's go. We got a 50-50 shot. Let's just start from the bottom. The sump filtration. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we have the sump filtration, a sump tank, a glass tank, a fish tank, a glass box, a cool little filter situation here, but don't get overwhelmed. This is a 4-foot tank, approximately 20 inches tall, about 20 inches front to back, somewhere in that ballpark, but who really cares? This is a 75-gallon tank. You can use any kind of size tank you want. Usually they are smaller than your display tank. My display tank is 6 feet long. This is 4 feet long, 125 gallons, 75 gallons. That's my ratio that I went with. Whatever. Let's continue on. You're asking yourself, what are these black lines here that is dividing my sump filtration tank into 4 chambers? Yes, let's break them down. 4 chambers. 1 chamber, 2 chamber, 3 chamber, 4 chamber. Okay, so we got 4 chambers in this tank right here. Alright, I see that. So what is happening right now? Well, tell you the truth, what is currently happening with my tank right now, and I figured this would be a perfect reason why I should make this video, because I am filling up my 125-gallon tank for the first time in about a year and change. For the first time, I'm filling up with the tank with brand new RO water, and what's happening now that the tank is full, it raised up to such the appropriate height in my tank here that it's actually going inside this overflow box. This is an overflow box. The water is flowing inside through the teeth here, right? Okay, why are we doing that? Well, that way that the water at the top of this tank is not kind of just sitting in here, it's getting filtered into this box. Well, what's in this box, this overflow box? Well, we have a drain. This is a drain. Okay, this little drain here is basically a U, we'll call it a U or a Duracell style drain, which is basically allowing the water to be suctioned down via gravity. And I would say maybe, I wouldn't say really suction, it's more on gravity. It's going to be gravity fed down. And the fact that it's submerged in water over here is just going to make it a little bit more silent versus having just a straight pipe pumping up into the air or pointing up into the air. It's going to kind of sound like a toilet bowl flushing or something like that. So having this little U is just going to make the silent drain. Alright, so we got that. What is this white pipe right here? Well, this white pipe is actually pushing in water into my tank. Well, where is this water coming in from? Well, let's just get this straight. Let's just get this straight. Let's just start. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Or what came first here, the water or the sump or the drain or the return? Like, what's happening? Well, let's check this out. So we're pumping up water inside my tank. Currently, we're just pumping in water with this small little hose, right? I'm filling it up with my tank right now, fresh water for the first time, with a little white hose here that's coming from this filter. But don't worry about this filter. This is next level or whatever, whenever you're ready for it. We're learning about sumps right now. But anyways, this is my fresh water that I'm stealing from the tap there. Okay, so it's getting and it's going inside my tank. So it's filling up my tank. So while the water gets filling up in my tank, it's getting up to the right level that it goes inside my overflow boxes. And what's happening? The drains on either side of my overflow boxes are going to be draining the water down. Where? Where is the drain? Where do you think it's going to drain? Into the sump filtration. So if you look at this red valve and that red valve, those two valves are in the open position right now, ready for the water to drain. Don't worry about that black valve, we're not there yet. We're just worrying about these two red valves. Those just valves right there allow us to control the flow of the water that's draining down into my sump filtration. And if we know this already, because we already learned this in the first few minutes, this is chamber number 1. Let's just call this the pre-filter. Okay, well, notice what's happening in chamber number 1. The water's coming down, and then from there it's going underneath this piece of glass. Notice how that piece of glass inside there is not glued all the way down. It's elevated above from the bottom. So the water is actually, by gravity, it's going underneath this piece of glass. Okay? And what's happening after that? It's overflowing this piece of glass. It's going up above it. And what's happening? Well, you're not really seeing a big waterfall effect, but it's falling and filling up this section. This section now has a couple of inches of water in it. Well, guess what? Once this raises up, where is it going to go? Up and over this one. And guess what's happening here? It's going to fall into here, fill up all the way up over here. Again, once it's filled up here, it's going to overflow on this one and back down. And guess what? Guess who's at the end? The two hungry pumps. I have 2 pumps right here. Well, in your case, you can have 1 pump, 2 pump, 3 pumps. In my case, I like a lot of flow, and I'm always available to adjust my flow with these valves right here. Okay, so I also have valves on my 2 pumps. So let's break down each pump. This is a perfect example because I have 2 pumps. You might have an external pump. External means that it's not supposed to be in the water. And a submergible pump could be another option, which is allowed to be in the water. So I have 2 different pumps. Let's just might as well use them both. And what are they doing? They're pumping up water to the tank. You see this pump? It's going up. This is the hose. And guess what? There's a valve right here to control the flow of the pump. Fantastic. Well, look at this one. This valve right here also can control the flow of this pump. Okay? So there's another option. This valve, usually I would always leave it open, but I would install another valve over here on this side to control the pump if you would like to control the pump. Usually I have my pumps always usually on full blast, all the way open, all the way. So actually, technically, there is no valve on this line. It's just going directly into the tank. You want to see where that's going? It's coming here at the side of the tank if you really want to see. So here it is right here. See this? That is connected to the hose that's running at the side of my tank down to my pump. I'm pumping the water in here. I could have pumped it in here on this return line, because again, each overflow box has 2 holes drilled at the bottom of them. These holes are sealed with 2 bulkheads. If you're not sure what a bulkhead is, another example there. There's a little bulkhead. Alright, so there's a bulkhead on that end. What does the bulkhead do? Well, it's sealing the glass from the water from leaking, right? Because there's 2 holes. How is this water draining? Well, because we drilled a hole through the tank and we sealed it with the bulkhead on either side. The drain is an inch bulkhead, and the return line, which means the pump is pumping the water up, is 3/4 inch. Those can vary depending on what size tank you have. These are the size and the dimensions that I currently have. For this size tank, I have 1 drain here and 1 drain here. I have another return here and another return here. So it looks like we have a general understanding of a sump filtration. Don't feel confused. I gave you a little bit extra information here. Let's recap on the super duper important stuff that I suggest I think you need to know. For you to make this happen, yes, you need plumbing. Yes, you need a return pump. No, you don't need a skimmer right now. This is just a later stage. Right now, we're just getting water flowing and understanding on how water flows through the filtration system, and it gets pumped back up, and then the water level gets pumped back into the tank, right? And then once the water level in the tank reaches that certain height, it's going to go inside our overflow boxes. Once it's inside the overflow box, our drains capture that and drains it straight down into there. So notice how I have two drains. One is for the left side of my tank and one is for my right side of my tank, as we recapped. All right, so let's recap a little bit more. We got 4 chambers in this sump because this is this sump's design. Okay, so we got chamber 1, 2, 3, and 4. You want to give these chambers a little bit better names. Pre-filter, skimmer chamber, refugium, and return pump section. Okay, if you notice this little black thing right here, this is a float valve. What is a float valve? Well, let's just call it an automatic top off. What is an automatic top off? Well, let's just call it your tank evaporates water daily, so you need to put water back in your tank that evaporates. So instead of doing that manually by putting water in a bucket and then pouring it inside your tank, why don't we fill up a bigger reservoir, like, you know, maybe 15-20 gallons that would last us maybe a week approximately, or longer, depends what size tank you have. And instead of pumping it, let's gravity feed it. So I gravity fed it into my sump filtration system here in my last chamber. Why my last chamber? Well, this is the chamber that's going to vary when your system is running or shut off, or when it evaporates water. So for an example, these are the markings that I used to have from previously. When my system is running, when the pumps are pumping water up top, the ideal water level is approximately this level, and that's why I have written on there. When I take off my pumps, shut them off, the water level in the sump slightly rises to approximately this level because of the back siphon of the water that is currently into the pipes. It will slightly back siphon. So that is another reason on determining what size sump tank you need, depending on how big is your display tank, according to how much plumbing and how much back siphon you will get when you unplug your return pumps. This is the rough breakdown of a sump filtration system. The water is draining down, it's going down under, up over, skimming with this little piece of equipment, which is a protein skimmer, and then after that it's hopping over, going to my refugium here, which in the refugium you're going to be able to grow desired macroalgae. In regards to a refugium, if you want to find more information about the refugiums, we can have a separate video about the refugiums. There's lots to discuss about that. And just to give you guys a little tie-in, now that we were talking about this black pipe led to a refugium that I used to have onto the side there. So currently this black pipe right there is on the closed position because I do not want the water to be going there because I no longer have that tank over there. So I'm currently just using this in-house all-in-one refugium here that I planned out within my sump filtration system. All in all, guys, it's been a long video. There's lots to cover. I can't really explain everything in about 10, 15, 20 minutes, but there is lots to learn. Overall, hopefully this video has helped you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We are setting up the 125 gallon tank. We have lots of work to do. We're going to be taking it slowly, and it's going to be a long, fun process. Lots of things to learn along the way. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Much love, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Just tell me now.
I don't want no truth, no, I don't want no lies. Trying to go in, yeah, going in your eyes. Like I'm just going deep, man. I just want to creep, man. I just want to do my thing while I sleep, man. Never mind you out on the streets now. Trying to do my thing, man. I want to creep, Here we go, man. Shorty going well. CN Tower, yeah, we're doing a layup like on a rap to the students in the streets now. Trying to do my thing while I get peed, Never mind you getting so loosely. Trying to do my thing, cause you know I get Bruce Lee. Act right, chop, drinking all this water. Never mind the bullshit and get data. I'm just rolling down, falling in the heat now. Trying to do my thing, man. You know I'm with the